Hey everybody, how is it going today? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I want to talk about the oil sector. There are some fantastic looking charts in the oil and gas industry, and the USO is breaking out to a new 52-week high. All right, well, let's get started. And first off, I want to take a look at the market averages. I think there's some pretty significant price action going on today, so I want to go over that first. And I'm just going to go over the ETFs. And the first one I want to go over is the NASDAQ ETF, which of course is the QQQ. If I zoom in a little bit closer here, we had this big gap down last week, which I thought for sure we were probably going to get some follow through. But this gap down was bought up immediately. The QQQ rose all the way up to the purple line, which is the 21-period exponential moving average, and has started to roll over just a little bit. But we had a gap down today and didn't trade down for very long. In fact, it has been getting bought up ever since. So this is actually looking very bullish. And if the QQQ can get above, call it 374.50. I think the NASDAQ or the QQQs are probably going to be home free, and we're going to be testing these highs up around 383 before too long. So the NASDAQ is looking pretty healthy. Let's take a look at the SPDR, which is the S&P 500. The S&P 500 or the SPDR looks even more bullish. This thing was bought up immediately after the gap down, and now we are in the pressure cooker. We're right in between all of those moving averages. And this type of pattern just screams breakout to the upside. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. But if the SPY can get above 445.50, I think this is probably going to be on its way to retesting the old highs right around 454. So that is a bullish sign. Let's take a look at the DIA, which is the Dow Jones Industrial Average ETF, and we can see this one looks even more bullish. Just stayed in that pressure cooker for only 2 days, getting a little bit of a break to the upside today. Has found resistance at that 50-period simple moving average, but I wouldn't be a bit surprised if we got a little bit of a pullback, but it almost looks like the Dow Jones is destined to break above that as well and also test the previous highs. But the one that I am the most excited about is the IWM. And let me back this thing out. And as you guys know, if you've been watching my channel, I've been following this for a long time. And I think if we get a breakout to the upside on the IWM, the market is going to be off to the races. And as we can see, the IWM has been stronger than those other three. And that hasn't happened very often. Usually the IWM has been weaker, at least over the last 9 or 10 months. But I think the IWM is poised to finally get this breakout of this box here that I have on this line, this consolidation. And this consolidation has been going on for 8 or 9 months, and you know what they say, the longer the base, the higher in space. So I think if we do get a breakout in the IWM, the market is going to be in fantastic shape for a continued bull run. And the fact that the IWM is the strongest one out of all those four that I just showed you makes me very optimistic that this could happen. All right, so let's get into the oil sector now. And the first thing I want to talk about is the USO, which is the oil ETF. And as we can see, it is having a very nice breakout today. I've been watching this thing closely for many months now, and I thought for sure once we tested the bottom of this consolidation, we were going to have a break through it and a touch of this 200-period simple moving average. I thought I had a date with that coming up, but it immediately had a gap up and has just been melting up ever since. I've been waiting for a breakout one way or the other on this consolidation, and it looks like we are finally getting a breakout, and it is to the upside. And by the looks of it, it's probably going to hold. It wouldn't surprise me one bit if it does come back down here and test this area right around 51.50 or so. But by the looks of it, I would expect this breakout to hold. We don't know for sure, but if this breakout does hold, energy could be in play big time for the next several months. So this thing is definitely one you want to keep an eye on. And if you don't have enough exposure to the energy sector, it's probably a good time to start, combing over some of those companies and figuring out which ones you want to add to your portfolio. I've been looking through the charts all day, and there are just so many nice looking charts. I mean, that doesn't surprise me one bit after looking at the USO chart, but man, some great looking charts. I'm going to just go through all of the nicer ones that I saw. I don't have time to go through every single one of them, so I'm sure I'm probably going to leave a few off here and there. But I just wanted to show you some of these nice looking charts in the oil sector in case you need some more exposure to oil. And I'm going to start with the higher price ones first. Let's start with PXD. Take a look at PXD. Let me back it out a little bit. We can see PXD came all the way down to that 200 period simple moving average. It held and has just been riding it up ever since, and now it looks like it is starting to blast off. It's starting to put pressure on that resistance area right around 170 or so. So it's going to be interesting to see if PXD can blast through it, and if they do, this just ends up being a, let me see if I can get control of this box here. This just ends up being a very long consolidation, and a breakout of this long consolidation is it's going to be a pretty nice move for PXD. So I think PXD is one of the stronger looking charts of some of the more expensive ones out there. Let's take a look at FANG. We can see Diamondback Energy is poised to be breaking to a new high. And this is the thing that you kind of expect. When you see an ETF of the underlying asset breaking out to new highs, you start to expect a lot of the charts starting to look really strong. And that's exactly what we're getting. FANG looks like it's ready to break out to a new high. Another one is LPI. LPI, I was talking about this one with some of the guys from the Patreon when it was touching this 200 period simple moving average. I didn't buy any. I think Joe did, and he's doing very well on this one. I had no idea this was going to be such a sharp V bottom. This is an absolute thing of beauty. Man, if I'd had a crystal ball, I would have just loaded up at the 200, but I knew when a lot of these oil stocks were pulling back to that 200 period simple moving average, I should have been adding a lot. I just added, a little bit. I probably should have added a ton, because you're going to see a lot of these stocks, bounced very sharply off that 200 period simple moving average, and that is very common. That's one of the one of the stronger areas of support you're ever going to see on a chart. So always keep an eye out for stocks that have been in long uptrends that are pulling back to that 200, because that's usually a very healthy pullback. But another one I want to talk about is XEC. Look at XEC. XEC came almost down to that 200. I was actually watching this area. I figured it was probably going to break through it, but it never did. Almost touched that 200, and this thing has been busting out to new highs. So this is one of the leaders in the sector for sure. Take a look at ConocoPhillips. COP. We can see COP has already broken out to a new high. So this is obviously one of the stronger ones. When you get the ETF breaking out to a new high, look for some of the stocks in the sector that are breaking out to new highs. That's going to show you where some of the stronger ones are, and COP is definitely one. Another one I thought was interesting was MNRL. If you look at MNRL, this one is kind of thinly traded, about 200,000 shares traded today. It's a $20 stock, but man, this thing is coming out of the right side of a very nice rounded bottom. So just a very nice looking pattern on MNRL. Another one that's kind of thinly traded is DMLP. We can see this one is certainly breaking out to a new high, a beautiful pattern. This one hasn't even traded 100,000 shares yet, so this one is certainly thinly traded. And today it's higher volume than the average of the last 50 days. So definitely a thinner traded stock, so you want to keep that in mind. But man, there's no denying how nice that chart pattern looks. But let's take a look at some of the other lower price stocks. And MMLP, I've talked about this one several times on the channel. This one is just itching for a breakout out of this triangle consolidation. Just keeps putting more and more pressure on that resistance area. It has teased me several times in the last month or so on these breakouts, and it just pulls back. But I think once this thing finally does break out, it's probably going to be a pretty decent runner. This one is thinly traded as well. Not even 100,000 shares traded so far, but definitely a nice looking pattern. Another one is PHX. Take a look at PHX. This one is definitely having a nice rounded bottom formation, and it is breaking above that 200 period simple moving average. So a very nice pattern in PHX. Another one is TGA. TGA is on the cusp of breaking out to a new high. This is only a $2 stock, so this one has a little bit more risk because it's a little bit lower price, but definitely a nice looking pattern. And that's one thing that I tend to look for when a sector is taking off. Usually the lower price stocks are a little bit of a lagger as far as the overall sector. So when if you feel like you've missed out on some of the higher price ones that have taken off, I usually try to find some patterns in the lower price ones that look like they are ready to break out, because they usually follow, the more quality issues, the higher price stocks. So that's one thing that I like to do, is take a look at those lower price stocks once I feel like I kind of missed out on the breakout of the bigger stocks. But another one I want to show you is HUSA, which is Houston American Energy. This one is looking very nice. This one has teased a couple of breakouts in the past, but I think once this thing eventually does break out, it should be a pretty good runner. And we can see today it is breaking out of these relative highs are above 225. And if it holds this breakout and is doing it on above average volume on 2.2 million shares, if it does hold this breakout, I think this one could be a runner. This is one I'm definitely keeping my eye on. Another one is EGY. Take a look at EGY. This is one that's definitely coming out of that rounded bottom and is jumping above all those moving averages today. So EGY is one that you certainly need to keep your eye on for a breakout. Another one is REI. And REI looks very similar to some of those other ones. See, a lot of these lower price stocks, they're lagging just a little bit, but they are definitely starting to form very nice breakout patterns. And this one is breaking above this resistance area right around 280 or so. So today is the actual breakout day. So I'm going to be watching this one tomorrow for a potential pullback. Next one is VIST. See, VIST is winding up very nicely. We have this support area right down here, and we have this trend line that is starting to close down on it. So a break above this trend line could be the start of a nice breakout for VIST. Just one of the better looking patterns in some of the lower price stocks that I found in this sector. This one is right around $4.50 a share as I'm making this video. Another one is VOC. See, VOC making that same pattern, had a little bit of a false breakdown where it found support at that 200 period simple moving average, started to round up, and now it looks like it is ready to challenge the old highs from back in July. Another one is AMPY. I promise I'm almost done. I had to leave some off because I didn't want a list to last forever, but man, so many nice looking patterns. I wanted to stick as many in this video as I could. Now AMPY is breaking out to the upside. It's putting pressure on $5 a share, and this one is breaking to a new high. So this is one of the stronger stocks in of the lower priced stocks in the oil sector. Another one is one that I actually own. Southwest Energy. Southwest Energy is having a massive up day. It's up 21.5%, and I haven't even seen any news on it, but it doesn't bother me one bit that this is up 21.5%. I added, when it pulled back to this area, I added some more to my position, and I'm glad that I did. Obviously, looking at this chart, I should have added more, but man, just a very nice day for Southwest Energy, and this thing looks like it's on the cusp of breaking out to a new 52-week high. If it's not there yet, hopefully it holds it. If it does, I mean, I think this thing could be a big runner for me. So Southwest Energy is looking super good. Another one is CDEV. I considered buying this one. It came down to that 200 period simple moving average, but I just added to one of my other positions, and I think I bought another stock that didn't perform nearly as well. But CDEV, man, I wanted to buy some of this right at $4 a share when it came down to that 200. And if I did, I'd be well up over 50% at the moment. So CDEV is looking super good. Another one that I almost bought was CRK. I was just looking at this consolidation that just went on forever. And man, I did not buy this one on the breakout, and this thing is exploding. You know, as I was saying with the IWM contract, the chart, the longer the base, the higher in space, and that is definitely what we were seeing with CRK. Just a very nice breakout on this one. This one has been in a long consolidation. Next one is BSM. See, BSM is winding up very nicely, and it looks like it is starting to break out. It's not a very strong breakout, so this one is a little little suspicious as far as this breakout. I need a little bit more price action to let me know that this is going to be a sustainable breakout, but just a beautiful uptrend nonetheless, putting pressure on that resistance area and, pushing through it at least slightly at the moment. And the last one that I want to show you is MRO, which is a Marathon Oil Group. I actually had an order to buy some of this on this day. I had a limit order at $10.31, and it never came down to that 200 period simple moving average, and has just been moving up ever since. But you can see it has this nice little consolidation with a false breakdown. You have the resistance area right here at $12.55, and we are getting a clean breakout through it. So if this thing might find some resistance at this all-time high level right here, right around $14, but if it pulls back to this area right around $12.55 or $12.60 and finds support, that should be a great second entry if you missed the breakout on Marathon Oil. All right, everybody, that's all I have for this one. But if you have any questions or comments on any of these stocks, or if you want me to take a look at any other stocks, please leave them down there in the comments section, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching my video all the way to the end, and until next time, take care, everybody.